In this particular research, there was an interest to look at the topic of delinquency. Now, what is so significant about such a topic like delinquency? When you look at the context, you realize that delinquency is a social problem that is faced by many societies around the world. In the case of Singapore, we find rising delinquency rates in Singapore over the past many years. This particular research wants to look at the link between religiosity and delinquency. They want to examine if there is any relationship between how religious one is and how likely one is to commit crimes. Currently, there are many studies that show that there is an inverse relationship between these two, meaning more of one leads to fewer of others. While this research has been quite established worldwide, we ask the question, how true can this be in the case of Singapore? At this point, we can't say for sure. Why so? Because there has been a lack of studies in Asian societies. Back to the information that we already have, we know at the moment there is certainly a rising rate of delinquency in Singapore. Other statistics tell us that there is an increase in the non-religious population in Singapore. Put another way, the religiosity rate in Singapore is getting lower. So, if that is the case, we could ask ourselves perhaps can we explore if religiosity and delinquency applies in Singapore? Back to the literature. So far, a lot of literature talks about how an increased rate of religiosity is linked to lower rates of delinquency. Put another way, whenever people are more religious, it seems that there's a relationship between that and lower rates of crime, lower rates of delinquency. Other related studies show that the reverse is also true, that whenever religiosity rates are low, they are linked to an increased rates of delinquency. Yet other studies try to examine the aspects of religiosity at an individual level or at a group level. So far, the results suggest that regardless of at the individual or a group level, increased levels of religiosity is indeed linked to decreased rates of delinquency. At the same time, we have a lot of studies that caution us against oversimplifying things. Many studies state that while there seems to be a link between religiosity and delinquency, perhaps the link between these two factors are not so straightforward. Other factors could be at play as well. For example, the impact of family on delinquency, the impact and influence of peers on delinquency, the impact and influence of your social environment, be it in the schools or beyond the schools, on delinquency. Other studies have instead also made the point about how effective the influence is might depend on how much that particular society values religiosity, how religious is a certain society. Therefore, many studies have also concluded that it is important that we clarify how we go about measuring religiosity. With that background in mind, this research wants to embark on another research to try to clarify the link between religiosity and delinquency.